Good evening, my Sun Blazing heroes. Before we even start today, I want to be honest with you guys. Today's episode may run a little bit longer than the 30-minute mark we usually try to keep it at. And we usually keep it at 30 minutes because we have had the honor of a 30-minute slot every Wednesday at 7 p.m. for the recording version of this show on the DJ Cummings radio station, one of the top online gospel radio platforms in the world, celebrated for its award-winning inspirational gospel music mixes and its reach across 92 countries. Today, with everybody wanting to tune in for this one, we're keeping it right around an hour, no longer than that. So for our family over at the DJ Cummings radio station, don't worry, I'm not leaving you out. I'm going to split this one into two parts just for that platform. So you get to hear every part of it. And before we go any further, I want something from you guys. Wherever you are watching or listening from right now, drop it in the comments. Let me know the city, state, country where you're tuning in from, what state you're homing in from, and tell me one thing, just one thing you are grateful for today. Drop it in. If you're tuning in live, or if you're tuning or catching the replay. I want to see you. I want this family to see each other, because you are not just watching a podcast today. You're seeing. You are known, and I want you to come back to this table every single week. Sun Blazers and heroes, come close a moment, because today we're sitting with a mother who buried her 16-year-old son in May of 2019 and then got up and became a pro bikini fitness competitor, a best-selling author, a national stage speaker, and a woman who now sits across from legislators fighting to change laws around mental health. I want you to sit with that for a second before we go any further, because somewhere between the funeral and the stage, this woman had to answer the same questions every single one of us in this family has had to answer. Who am I now? And what am I going to do to build something out of what's left of me? This is Amanda's story, and this is the process of becoming, folks. Before we go there, and I promise you we're going to go there today, I need your body in this room. So one of the things I do in every one of my podcasts is I do a somatic exercise with you. So plant your feet. If you're driving, folks, don't do this. But if you're somewhere safe, do this with us. Put your feet straight on the ground. Put one hand over your heart and one hand over your belly. Deep breath in through the nose. Hold it and release through the mouth. Let's do it one more time, and this time whisper with me. I am safe. I am held. I am becoming. Let's do it one more time. I am safe. I am held. I am becoming. Let go, loosen your shoulders, and unclench your jaw. Family, today we're going to talk about the hollow place, a place that gets carved out of you when you lose a child, especially when you lose one to suicide, where the questions don't stop and the silence around it gets so loud. But a hollow isn't only an emptiness. In a natural world, a hollow is also a shelter, a low place where water gathers, where things are held, where new growth starts because the ground was softened enough to receive a seed. You are not just in a hollow place today, you are also in a holding place. Hold on to that. We're about to show you what it looks like in real life. For those of you tuning in for the first time, my name is Rosie. My son Jeremy died from cancer. Amanda's son Logan died from suicide. Different roads into the same valley and family. I want to say this clearly because it matters. There is no hierarchy of grief here. A mother who loses her child to disease and a mother who loses her child to mental health crisis are both standing in the same devastation. Both are asking the same questions in the dark. How do I live again when the life I loved is gone? For those of you flying with us today for the first time, let me tell you a little about me. When cancer took my forever 37 baby boy, Jeremy, yes, you heard that right, 37, and he was still my baby boy. It took my identity with him. 8 months, almost 100 pounds gained. I was surviving, but I was already gone. And then Jeremy came to me in a dream. Mom, get up, live. Remember the dream? I made a decision. Grief happened to me, but I still had a choice of who I was going to become afterwards. So I decided to invest in myself. I got me an amazing coach, the incredible icon himself, Mr. Darren Walker. And with him came an amazing community, the Be Iconic community. People who saw me, who pushed me, who reminded me who I was becoming, even on the days I couldn't see myself. Piece by piece, prayer by prayer, decision by decision, I rebuilt. What I've learned sitting across from mothers like Amanda is that suicide loss carries its own particular weight. The guilt, the what could I have done, the silence other people don't know how to sit in with you. It is not a lesser grief. In some ways, it is one of the loneliest griefs there is, because the world doesn't always know how to hold it with you. And yet, here she is, traveling the world, standing in front of legislatures, building a life that is still somehow beautiful. When you have nothing, God's up to something. Let's welcome her. Hi, Amanda, my love. Let me tell them a little bit about you, and then we'll let you start. Okay?
Okay, thank you. I think you already did, but sure.
Amanda's a super mom of two, a two-time pro bikini fitness competitor, a former educator with a bachelor's degree in elementary education, a #1 best-selling author, a keynote and national motivational speaker, and an entrepreneur at heart. She has become a transformational leader in the network marketing industry, helping other people achieve their goals and empower their own lives. In May of 2019, Amanda lost her 16-year-old son, Logan, to suicide. And out of that devastation, she made a decision most people never make, to spend her life traveling the world, helping others discover their purpose, while partnering with legislators to advocate for mental health. Amanda, like I said, welcome to this podcast, beautiful. I am so honored to have you here.
I'm honored to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Let's get started. Okay, Amanda, before we get heavy,
Sure.
Tell our audience a little more about you, the real you. You're not what everything I said, just who you are at heart, my love.
Sure. Well, I'm a work in progress, aren't we all? Yeah. I appreciate the kind words and for the highlight reel, I should say, of what I've been able to accomplish. What we don't see is the shit show behind closed doors that usually goes on in most of our lives. And of course, everybody who does know me knows that I'm a very transparent, vulnerable person, not embarrassed by where I am in life or what has led me here in life. And so I guess we'll just, uncover some things as we go.
Fantastic. I love that, Amanda. Thank you. Thank you, my love. Take us back. Who you were before May 2019. You were already a mom, an educator, someone who'd built a life. Paint us the picture. Who was Amanda before 2019, May 2019?
Someone who just wasn't personally developed. They don't teach personal growth and development in school, and I still have a long road to go. I had a passion to be an educator. It took me, 13 years after graduating high school to finally pull the trigger and go back to school. So I was 32 when I went back to college. I always knew what I wanted to do. Just, life happened and ended up divorced and a single mom and was bartending till 4:00 in the morning, trying to figure out what to do, and moved around a little bit and was just trying to find stable ground so I can officially pull the trigger, so to speak, and find a way to go back to school to get that degree. So I did. It took 5 years, 3 months, blood, sweat, and tears, and time away from my kiddos. I had to find that time to get that degree in elementary education. And I don't regret that I don't teach in the classroom anymore because I still feel like an educator. I'm just not in the classroom setting. However, it's funny because my mom always said, man plans and God laughs. Nothing ever seems to work out to how you plan. So I guess, my whole life I have just felt that educator instinctively in me. I wanted to just make an imprint in the world, like a lot of people do. And, you're talking about purpose. Part of the book that I wrote was about finding your purpose. I believe that there are 3 types of people in this world. There are people who know what their purpose is in life and go after it. There are people who stumble maybe a little bit and come into their purpose. Everybody has purpose, but sometimes people, don't realize what it is right away, and they find it through their journey. And then there's people who tend to not know what their purpose is and fly under the radar and struggle. And so kind of not really answering your question, my thought process through that is the people who end up dying by suicide don't really want to die. They just don't know what their purpose is, or they don't feel like they have purpose in life. I've always known my purpose in life was to be an educator in some sort of form or fashion. Did I realize it was going to be in this form? Of course not. But all the things that take place in our life, the good, the bad, and the ugly, doesn't define who we are. It just builds character along the way. And sometimes we don't have a choice in the matter. So always want to be a mom. I think that's been my biggest accomplishment so far. And there's that definitive line in the sand. We talk about, BC and after, AD. I say, before Logan and after Logan. There was a life before Logan and there's been a life after Logan. And there's that really deep line in the sand. And I did lose a big part of me. Obviously, a part of my soul died that day. So the person I am today, it's still Amanda, just in a different form.
Hear you, my love. And boy, we got a lot in common because I ended up going back to college at 32. So I get it. Tell us about Logan, my love. Not how he left us, who he was, what did he love, what made him laugh, what do you want every person listening to know about your son?
Yeah. Gosh, Logan was really larger than life, infectious, very witty, charismatic, loved marine life, wanted to go to the College of Charleston to be a marine biologist. Just very outgoing, very outspoken, very opinionated, very energetic. I thought I was a very hyper person. That apple definitely didn't fall far from the tree. A really great kid. I mean, of course, he had his nuances as being a kid will have, but overall, he was a really great kid, a hard worker, overachiever, had a lot of friends. Yeah, just really dedicated and loyal, just so loyal to everyone around him. Everybody adored him.
I've been finding, Amanda, that, they say only the young die young. I mean, only the good die young, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that when our children die at a young age, they seem to be amazing, incredible. I mean, the lights they leave is incredible. So God bless you. God bless him. Okay. And so let me ask you, suicide loss carries a particular kind of weight. The guilt, the questions, the silence. Other people don't know how to sit in that with you. What was the hardest part of grieving Logan that people don't talk about enough?
I think there's just different types of guilt. I have survivor's guilt. It's a secondary form of PTSD. I don't think there was anything I could have done or didn't do. Obviously, being a parent doesn't come with an instruction manual, but neither does being a kid. And at least I've been a kid before. So Logan's suicide took me by surprise. Definitely didn't see it coming. And statistically, they say 4 out of 5 people show clear warning signs and 20% don't, which is why I love that we're having this conversation, because if we can have those non-cringeworthy conversations and normalize the conversation around mental health, then maybe we can lower that number from 20% to, as low as we can get it, because people feel more comfortable coming out and actually having those conversations. With Logan, I call him the Robin Williams of the group, because even though you and I might not have personally known Robin Williams, he still took the world by surprise. He just wore a smile on his face. He liked to make people laugh. I mean, that was Logan. He was the rising star of the speech and debate team in high school, and he did such a phenomenal job at making everybody else around him feel good, even when they felt like they didn't do well, maybe at a competition, that they were going to make him the morale officer the following year, which is crazy to me. So I do carry that survivor's guilt, because as a mom, my heart should not still be beating, and my son's is not. Guilt as far as being able to stop what happened, I don't know if I'll get ridiculed for saying this. I feel like, unfortunately, with the demons in Logan's head and the battles that he was fighting that I was not aware of, even though we had a very close relationship, he was very good at hiding it, like a lot of people are. I feel like whether it was then or 6 months from then or 6 years from then, at some point, I think potentially he could have still lost his battle. Of course, I would have loved the opportunity to have gotten him the help that he needed, and I just wasn't given that. So I think some people beat themselves up and they blame themselves for why someone takes their life, but ultimately it is an impulsive decision that that person makes in that moment. And so I don't harbor that guilt in the sense of not being able to stop it, but I do carry the survivor's guilt, and I think there's a distinct difference.
And let me tell you, I know I can relate, because even though Jeremy passed away from cancer, I still had guilt as to, there were still questions like, why wasn't I able to get him to do the alkaline diet more? Or why didn't I teach him how to eat right from the jump? Those things. So I get that. But you're right. We can't beat ourselves up, because those are things that, whether we like it or not, unfortunately do happen. Like you said, it's not easy to navigate. So I
was going to say, there's definitely things I could have done better as a parent. I mean, I wasn't parent of the year. There's things that I was not proud of. But ultimately, I don't think that it was something that I could have done differently that would have changed the outcome.
Honestly speaking, there's no manual to raising a child, Amanda. There's no manual. And none of us are perfect, my love. I mean, we do the best we can. One thing I know is you love your children to the max, and you'll do anything above and beyond. So there's certain things that are beyond our control, and this is one of them. So all we can do is just keep going, my love, sweetheart. God bless you. Let me ask you, Amanda, I'm this I want to ask gentle and only take it as far as you want to. What do you remember about the days after Logan's passing? What would the first collapse feel like to you?
Oh, it's a big fog. I mean, I do remember bits and pieces of it because there were significant things that happened around that time. For us, my husband at the time and I were over in the Netherlands visiting my best friend, and we were 4,000 miles away. Now, we had a very close friend and family member that was staying at the house with her two kids. So we felt very comfortable leaving the kids with her because, I mean, the kids were self-sufficient, but we needed an able body at the house to make sure nobody broke in or the house caught fire. And of course, she harbors a lot of guilt, thinking it was her fault that she allowed Logan to leave the house that night. But I would have let him leave too. He said he had to go to the store to get school supplies for an end of the year project. So her and I have had many conversations about that. But to be more specific with your question, because I tend to get down rabbit holes, I would have never left, obviously, to go to the grocery store, let alone 4,000 miles away if I thought something was wrong with my kids in general. So that was really tough. The way everything came about that evening, because we were 6 hours ahead. It was the middle of the night for us when we were getting phone calls about Logan being on the train tracks. After we found out that he had passed, that was the biggest nightmare, trying to get home. And had it not been for my daughter at home, because I couldn't get home to her fast enough, I don't think I would have made it home. Like, I felt like every step I took walking through the airport in Amsterdam to jump on a flight, I forced myself to put one foot in front of the other, because I knew if I paused for just a moment and hit the ground, I wouldn't get back up. So obviously skipping a lot of gory details, but just getting home to her. He passed on the 14th of May. It was the 15th for me because I was obviously in a different time zone. And then my husband at the time, his birthday was on the 16th. And we were at the funeral home discussing Logan's arrangements. We didn't bury him. We ended up, having his ashes and spreading them. But I remember walking down the tracks because we were trying to find where it happened. And my husband said, well, what do you want to do for dinner? And I was like, I am not even thinking about food. And he mentioned how it was his birthday. And I felt like, oh my God, I can't believe I forgot it was your birthday. But at that time, you're not thinking about anything else other than you're in that moment. But yeah, it was just tough. I mean, it was a fog. I just remember, I think, just staring off into space a lot and walking in circles, just feeling lost, completely lost. It was surreal, and it still is. But the surrealness was very raw at that moment.
So when do you recall the moment that something flipped for you, that you came out of that grief and wanted to create something from this and walk in a different perspective?
Probably 2 years. I really think that first year is such a fog for most people. Anybody that's listening, anybody who's lost anybody that they've loved, doesn't have to be a child. That first year is such a fog. Like, time is so weird because everything feels like yesterday and forever ago at the same time. It's the oddest feeling in the world. I really feel like it was probably a good 2 years before I was able to, and here's why, I think, because gosh, that first year, I grew up in a Jewish family, and my daughter had her bat mitzvah at the end of the year. It was her 13th birthday. She was 12 when obviously it happened. And we, instead of throwing her a big party, we went over to South Africa and took her on an amazing trip. And as soon as we got back, it wasn't even 3 months later, and COVID hit. So that whole time frame was also a big fog. And coming out of that year, I had some friends that competed. I used to be a fitness competitor in a different federation, and I had a really good friend just say, hey, why don't you do a competition with us? And I was like, I'm barely eating. And I know what it takes to do these competitions. Like you're eating 5-6 meals a day, really packing on the protein. You have to stay disciplined and focused. And it was that invite that really, I think, just kind of got me in my wheels in motion to actually start taking care of myself. Because I preach mental health, but if you can't pour from an empty cup, and if you're not fueling your body with any type of nutrition, you're not going to have any energy. And so it really was a double-edged sword with not eating properly or taking care of myself. I was trying to take care of everybody else, and I put myself on the back burner. So I would say just probably 2 years. I don't even know.
I hear you. I hear you. And listen, folks, what Amanda said is so true. You can't pour out from an empty cup. It just doesn't happen. Mm-hmm. We know that. So, Amanda, you weren't just grieving as a mother. You were also raised a daughter who was grieving as well.
Yeah.
And people don't talk enough about sibling grief. Can you give us a little insight as to what that looked like? And as a mother, having to guide her and going through your own grief, it couldn't have been easy. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I reached out to therapists. There were different forms of therapy we worked with. There was a children's theater at the time, and then of course it was during COVID, so a lot of it was online. We just kept the conversations really open with her. I think the 3 most powerful words you can ask anyone is, are you okay? If you ask someone, how are you doing? You can answer that 5,000 different ways. But if you say to someone, hey, are you okay? You're still asking them how they're doing, but it's really a straightforward yes or no. So we would do pulse checks. We would talk about Logan a lot. I'd find her crying in his bed, wearing his hoodie several times. She never liked to cry. She's more on the introverted side, but she ended up turning her pain into purpose. And I feel like she and I grew together in that aspect. She saw how I started doing a little bit of advocacy work, and she was watching, and she was kind of jumping on the bandwagon with that. She ended up creating a Minds Matter mental health club at her high school. So I've really watched her grow through her grief. But she was doing really well, exceptionally well for considering her just losing her brother. And we still talk about it. She doesn't talk about it often, but we still talk about it.
That's, God bless you. I mean, that had to been, see, my son was already an adult when Jeremy passed, because Jeremy was my youngest and he was 37. So that's a different, but I couldn't imagine having to cope or go through grief and still have to handle or the grief from a young child. That's got to be like devastating. But God bless you for that, Amanda.
She's very intuitive, and thank you for that, by the way. She's very intuitive. She knew something was going on. I mean, there was obviously a lot more to the story with, the police. The police were out there looking for him. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry was out there looking for him, because he just basically told everybody he left. Everybody wants to know if they left a note, and I would say, I don't know why that's the number one brain question. Did he leave a note? Is what everybody would ask. The answer is no, but I remember thinking, why does it matter? Like, if he left a note with 1,000 reasons why he did what he did, would it make sense to you? Like, no. It would never logically make sense why people choose to leave this world. But what I want to say quickly was that when the police came to the house, she knew instinctively something was wrong. And we talked about mental health before that. I promised her that if I heard any news about where Logan was, he wasn't in trouble, but he was endangered and missing, then I promised her I would be the first person to tell her. So the devastating part of that story is that I had my friend at the house, and I had another friend go to the house, and I made them wake her up because it was publicized on the news and on social media. And I knew when she went to school the next day, she was going to find out. And the last thing I wanted her to do was find out at school. So that, for me, was the most painful part of Logan's death, aside from losing him, was having to break the news to her through a FaceTime call. That was devastating in itself.
Imagine.
Yeah.
God bless you, babe. So, another question, Amanda. You stepped into the Pro Bikini Fitness stage twice. What did rebuilding your body have to do with rebuilding yourself? How did it help?
It's just about creating habits. And like I said, I preach to people about mental health and taking care of yourself, but for me, it wasn't about getting my body in the best shape it's ever been in, which was nice. It's not sustainable, but I did it because it was going to force me to eat. I mean, I didn't have an eating disorder, but I just had no appetite. Everything lost taste, everything lost color. It was like, I felt guilty. We talked about guilt, because I was doing my best to show up as a mom for my daughter and to show up as a wife to my husband. But I did it because I knew it would force me, and it would be a positive distraction. I guess the best way to answer your question is it was a positive distraction. I knew from just my former experience of what it would take and what it would do for me, and it would help boost me into the right direction of just trying to normalize my life as best as I could.
I understand that. It makes a lot of sense, my love. So you went from classroom educator to national keynote speaker, standing on stages, telling the story to strangers. What was it like the first time you had to tell Logan's story on stage to the public?
Gosh, it was a blessing and a curse, quite honestly. It was a blessing because I just felt like it takes one domino to tip the rest. And I felt like if I can affect one soul in the room, and the whole point of my advocacy work is because I couldn't save Logan. But if I can help one family, one person not have to experience what our family experienced, to me, that was healing and fulfilling. I have found my healing in talking about Logan and talking about mental health and being a light, even if it's a dim one, to a topic that's so dark. So being able to stand on a stage, my first experience, it wasn't a stage. I started talking with schools and collaborating with nonprofit organizations and schools. But my first opportunity to stand on a national stage was it was the SHRM conference. So if people aren't familiar with that, it's the Society of Human Resource Management. And the Michigan SHRM is one of the largest conferences each year. And I mean, they had like an NFL player that was one of the keynotes. They had all these incredible speakers, and I had never stood on the national stage. So the devil is talking in my ear going, how are you even qualified to be standing on a stage, to be talking about anything and to these people? And I thought, gosh, did I mislead people to show them that there really isn't a qualification. It's just, you're just sharing something that could be very valuable to someone else. So I had to block out that noise. And I was there. There was about 1,200 people there in the audience, and some online. And being able to share Logan's story, it wasn't scripted, but I did have like a PowerPoint and some slides, and I was able to, I caveated, I'm not certified as a person to teach this stuff. I just want you guys to know what I did, what I could have done better, what I wish I knew. That's been one of the biggest parts of my advocacy work, is teaching people what I wish I knew before, and could have done differently to maybe help Logan in his situation. But yeah, I was able to do that. I had an opportunity to stand in front of the South Carolina National Guard. So working with the military, working with the schools, and just, HR around the globe and things like that. It's been really rewarding.
Thank you for that, sweetheart. You're partnering with legislators to advocate for mental health. Tell us about that work. What changes are you actually fighting for right now, and why does it matter this much to you?
Yeah, well, doing my best to. There's been a lot of pushback, and people say they care, and I think they genuinely do, but for whatever reason, it's not at the top of the priority list. And so there's been a lot of progress in the school systems. Some states are better than others. One of the nonprofit organizations I partnered up with is the Jason Foundation. And when I did it through a Google search, I didn't want people to waste their money on sending flowers when Logan died. I wanted them to take their money and put it towards something that was going to actually do something productive. And so when I found them, I learned that the Jason Flatt Act is something that's in 20 states so far, and some other states use something else. And I won't go into all that. Everybody can just look up what the Jason Foundation does just to save time. But one of the things that we were able to do, not through that organization, is me and several other parents and teachers went in front of the school board in my home state, and we pushed and we pushed and we pushed, and we did what we could to get in touch with congressmen and representatives of of each county. And through that collaboration, several years ago, they finally put on the back of the school IDs the national hotline for suicide prevention. Now it's just 988, but there used to be a longer 800 number there. And it said suicide prevention on that. And I remember it being in the news, and there was some snarky remarks, on social media saying, oh, like this is going to stop suicide. And I'm like, people are missing the bigger picture. Like the fact that the word suicide is printed on the back of the school ID to bring awareness was leaps and bounds. Like, it's normalizing the conversations. It's being able to say the word suicide without cringing or being embarrassed. And so having that national hotline for kids to call in case they need to speak to someone anonymously was huge progress. But we're still fighting. We're still fighting to make this a priority. It's tricky with mental health because there's only so many mental health counselors that they put in each school, and there's insurance loopholes and all kinds of stuff. So, just dedicating a portion of time to bring awareness in each school, even if it's just for a day, has been a battle in itself. So our work is not done, but definitely making some progress.
Yeah. It never stops, does it? Mm-hmm. Let me take a look at some of the comments, Amanda, because there's been a lot of people commenting. There's hearts. South Carolina is in the house. Jesus is good. Great evening from Strong Island. Extremely valuable. You are truly a blessing, Amanda. Mental health is not spoken about enough. Thank you for sharing your story with transparency. Proud of you, sweet friend. Advocating for mental health is so crucial. Thank you. Yeah, it's true. Very, 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 very needed in today's world, honestly.
Yeah.
All right, Amanda. You still get to be a mom to an amazing daughter and to Logan's memory. What does joy look like for you now? I know you recently took a trip to Greece with your daughter. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about that. That was kind of cool.
Well, I love the fact that you use the word joy, because a lot of people are looking for happiness, and happiness is like motivation. It's fleeting. It comes and goes. And for the last few years, I've been saying, I just need to find my joy again. I need to find a way to find my joy again. After Logan died, I just remember feeling like my smile was never going to look the same again. And I didn't know how I was ever going to feel whole and complete when part of my soul died. And I find joy in just my daughter. My daughter alone brings me so much joy. And just watching how much she has thrived. She's got so much grit, and she has handled this tragedy with so much grace. And so I just have really found joy in being a mom to her. And I talked about personal growth and development, just being around a community of people who will rally around you on your lowest of lows, but still celebrate you when you're succeeding without any comparison or competition. They just genuinely want to see you thriving and winning in life. And so yeah, that just traveling. I've always had a passion for traveling. I started modeling when I was 18 out of Miami, and I never did it for the fame or fortune or the attention. I just wanted to find a way to get paid to have my feet in the sand. So it's kind of funny because the business I'm in now is allowing me to travel and get paid. So my life has, I would like to say, come full circle, but it's done a lot of like U-turns and driving. But yeah, the Greece trip was phenomenal. We were with my daughter and I actually went with a huge group of friends to Jamaica. And then 3 weeks later, she and I were in Greece for 10 nights. That was my 50th birthday present to myself.
Congratulations. Happy birthday.
I originally wanted a girls trip and I decided, you know what? I really think that based on my personality, I like to cater to other people. And I knew that I would be so stressed out the whole trip, making sure everybody had a good time, that I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go with my daughter to Greece. And we did. We spent a spectacular 2 nights in Athens, 3 nights in Mykonos, and 5 nights in Santorini. So it was kind of a 50th birthday mommy-daughter trip. And I wanted to do that for her too. I know it was for my birthday, but it was really about just rewarding her. And I wanted her, I always say I want to see the world before I leave the world. You said, you talked about Darren Walker earlier. I believe that quote came from him and maybe he borrowed it from someone else. But I think it's really important for us to travel. And that's not a sales pitch because, I'm in the industry, but it's just,
no, most definitely
go see the world. Like go see a part of the world that you normally would see in a movie or in a magazine. Like just like find a way to, everybody works so hard and most of us are flying under the radar and most of us are battling some sort of depression or anxiety or everybody has some sort of mental health challenge. I don't like the statistic of 1 in 5 are sick because they're making you feel like something's wrong with you. 5 out of 5 people have a mental health challenge. We all do. And so I feel like if people can just find a way to just go somewhere, it doesn't have to be to the other side of the world. Like just go to the beach for the weekend or go to the somewhere at least, don't just stay home all the time. It's so easy to become a hermit crab.
I mean, our children don't, and me too. I don't remember whatever I got for my birthdays when I was a kid. Kids don't remember what they got for their birthday, but they never forget a trip. And you're right. We need to experience life more. Yeah. And that's what life to me is all about. So God bless you. That's awesome.
After Logan died, we started buying experiences instead of things. We realized that was important to us to have those experiences.
We're still getting in a lot of comments. God bless you and your daughter. Communities, and it's everything. Willpower alone is never outdo community. She has learned grit from the best. Yes, she has. Yeah. And somebody said your daughter's a gem. Obviously, they know you're a daughter. She's got to be amazing. I look forward to seeing her today. Glad to hear more of your story, Amanda. Even though we have spent time together, it's still nice to hear. Thank you, Amanda, for continuing working to help people dealing with suicide thoughts. You are amazing. You amaze me. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, folks. Nice listening and hearing your words. All right, girl. So if Logan could see you right now, the stages, the book, the legislatures, your daughter in Greece, everything you're building since he left, what do you think he would say to you?
I know he'd be proud. I felt like it would be a disgrace if I stopped living for him. I felt like he would want me to live and be happy, and his sister too. So giving myself permission to laugh again, giving myself permission to smile again, just giving myself permission to live has been a challenge because of that survivor's guilt, but I know he'd be proud. Mackenzie and I just had this conversation. We've had several times, but especially recently, about how proud he would be of both of us. She just started her second year at the College of Charleston, which is actually, we spread his ashes out in the Charleston Bay. So Charleston's very special to us, but he would just be so proud. I know he would. And there's Godwinks all around. There's been several Godwinks. When I'm still enough, I see him, not him, but see the Godwinks, and they've happened on very special, momentous occasions, whether it's my birthday or his birthday or even his death date. But I know he'd be so proud of who Mackenzie has even become through this whole process. And I do my best to do things, if he were here physically, to make him proud. So
it's in that too. So yeah, thank you, girl. You are, every time I talk to you, you blow my mind. I mean, you leave me speechless, because honestly, I mean, we're both angel moms, but there is, I don't know. How should I word this? I can't imagine, with everything that the pain I went through, to also have to figure out how to be right for my daughter, so that in itself, you are like, wow, mind blowing, my love.
Well, a lot of people, comparison is the thief of joy. So some advice I'd like to give to anybody who's listening, who might be struggling in general, whether it's grief or in life, is we live life vicariously through others. We live behind the screen of social media, and we feel like someone's got their life together, and we only focus on their success. We don't realize what goes on behind closed doors. Like, you said so many kind things about all the things I've accomplished, but what people don't realize is how many times I cried on the floor of the shower and my husband had to turn off the water and scrape me off the floor. Or how many times I sobbed so hard on the carpet that I was literally dry heaving. Or how many days I probably wasted, which aren't wasted because it was something I had to go through at the moment, just staring off into space for hours at a time. It's like, those are the things that people don't realize. They just see the highlight reel. And so I remember someone lost their kid. It was a friend on, we're friends on social media, but it was someone I knew mutually. And she commented on one of her posts when I commented. She made a post, I commented, and she responded and replied with, "I wish I was as strong as you." And she didn't know me on a real deep personal level. But regardless, I said, don't do that to yourself. Don't compare my strength to yours. Because quite honestly, I don't see it as strength. I see it as survival mode. Like, I could have crawled into a rabbit hole. I contemplated on it many times, but I knew I would do the world a disservice, and I would do my daughter a disservice disappearing. So I felt like I really didn't have a choice but to find a way to put one foot in front of the other, however that looked at. Like, there were days where I felt like brushing my teeth was an accomplishment. I went from posting on my social media reels, like, hey, living, not existing, to literally barely scraping myself out of bed and brushing my teeth for the day. So my advice to anyone who's struggling is, don't compare yourself to someone else's, what you consider their strength, because most of the time we're all in survival mode. I mean, I don't normally have my hair done and makeup on. And if anybody sees me out and about, I mean, like, I'm in messy mom bun, no makeup, gym clothes all the time. I look like I have it together, but I typically don't. Most of the time, I'm just looking for things to give me a positive distraction, and I do my best to get through the day.
Thank you, Amanda. Thank you for your wisdom, my love. What would you say to a mother listening right now who just lost her child to suicide this year, this month, this week, who doesn't believe she'll ever back up again? What would you say to her?
Probably the same things that were said to me. Just, you'll be able to breathe again a little bit. It'll feel a little bit lighter over time. It's just, the crappiest thing about it is you don't have a choice. The only way through is through. Allowing yourself to just give yourself grace. Allow yourself to feel it on those days. Don't suppress it. Don't be afraid to ask for help. It's okay to not be okay, but just be careful not to get into those really dark moments where you stay there. It's very easy to do, but just give yourself a little bit of grace and just know that, over time, whatever that timeline looks like for you, it could be a year, it could be 3 years, it could be 3 months. I don't know. You will be able to breathe a little bit lighter. You will be able to smile again. You may not feel like your laugh sounds the same, but the point is that you will laugh again one day, and you'll do it without feeling guilty over it. There was a moment on my 50th birthday, my daughter was sweet, and we were in Santorini, and she took me to this beautiful restaurant. She had it all planned out, and we were sitting there, and the server brought me a dessert, and Mackenzie was singing to me, and she videoed it, and she started crying. And I started crying because she was crying, but I didn't know why she was crying. And she said, I realized this is the first time that I sang happy birthday to you alone, and that Logan wasn't here. And so that it wasn't sad for her. It was more of a touching moment. I guess I'm not describing that feeling very well, but there are moments where you'll have that aha moment in life where you realize that things just look different. Traditions are different, but you create new traditions. There is no new normal. I hate that expression. You'll find a new normal. There's nothing normal about grieving a child. You just do the best that you can each day. People ask me all the time, how are you? Whether I'm checking out at the grocery store or you ask me, how are you doing? And my response is, I'm doing my best, because that's all we can do.
Right. No, you're absolutely right. And it's amazing to me how we can carry the worst pain and worst grief ever in the planet, but still carry joy at the same time. So
Just carry it different.
You're absolutely right. So some blessing and heroes. Did you hear everything Amanda's saying? Someday you will be able to smile again. You do have to give yourself grace, and a lot of it. Know that we don't have all the answers. Nobody ever created a freaking manual on how to raise our children or how to deal with anything. And there's a lot of misconceived ideas out there as to what grief should look like. And there is no look-alike. They're all different. Nothing is guaranteed. Nothing is expected. And you're right. It's baby steps, a little step at a time. That's the best you can do. So God bless you, Amanda. Thank you for being here, my love. Let our listeners know where they could reach you. They want to reach out to you, sweetheart. Let them know how you could be contacted, please. Love you.
Sure. So I was hacked 2 years ago. So I made all my social media accounts pretty much, well, I shouldn't say all. My social media accounts like Facebook and Instagram are private. So please, if you do find me on either platform, send me a message and let me know that you were part of this podcast and you want to connect with me, because I'm very particular over who I add, and it has nothing to do with privacy as much as it does about just being afraid of getting hacked again. But just if you look up Amanda Meyer, Meyer, Inspire, and there's an _ official. That's my Instagram. If you look up Amanda Meyer on Facebook, it's a picture of my daughter and I in Jamaica. I'm holding a Let's Go banner. You can really it sounds so bad. I hope this doesn't come across as arrogant. If you just Google Amanda Meyer or Amanda Meyer Inspire, I'll pop up and you can find me that way. I am on my Linktree, I believe, is Amanda Meyer 2020. I don't even know. Honestly, it's so bad. But I would love to connect with people. I really feel like sharing my story gives other people permission to share theirs. I feel like, nothing makes me more special than the next. Everybody has a powerful story to tell. I just hope that they have the courage to be vulnerable and share their story, because there are people, if you're listening, people need to hear your story. No two stories are the same. Everybody's got their own path and their own journey, but everybody needs to hear your story, because your story, I tell people all the time, your struggle will become someone else's survival guide. So never be afraid to share your story. People need to hear your story. You do have purpose in life. You are enough. Even if you don't feel like you are enough. So thank you for letting me share.
Thank you very much for being here. My pleasure, and I'm humbled. Thank you, Amanda.
Yeah.
God bless you. If today stirred something in you guys, if you're standing at your own fork in the road right now, deciding who you're going to become, I want to personally invite you to my next masterclass, Cleared for Takeoff: 5 Steps to Rebuilding Your Identity After Devastation, Loss. My free live masterclass will be August 28th at 7 p.m. and it is free. Come and take off, and I'll personally send you the link to the Zoom so you could attend. Amanda, again, thank you for trusting us with Logan's story, and thank you for trusting everybody, trusting me as well. You didn't just answer all my questions. You handed every Sunblazing hero listening prove that a hollow place can become a holding place.
Sure.
Keep flying, my love. And Logan is flying right alongside with you, no doubt.
Thank you for the platform. Yes.
My pleasure. So in closing, I'd like to say a closing prayer. You guys are more than welcome to pray along with us. God, we come before you tonight with hearts wide open, grateful for Amanda's courage to sit here and tell the truth. Thank you for Logan. Thank you for his 16 years, for his laughter, for whatever it was about him that made his mother whole world brighten, for having him. Hold him close tonight and hold Amanda's daughter close too. Thank you for Amanda not staying in the wreckage. Thank you for the stages. Thank you for her giving heart, her book, and thank you for her hands. And thank you, God, for all the laws and legislators that she helps move in the right direction. Thank you that you can take the most devastating loss of a mother and can carry it and still make a steward out of her. For every Sunblazer, every hero, every parent listening right now who is drowning in guilt and grief over a child loss, please watch over them and make sure that they know that they're not forgotten. God, thank you, and thank you for this platform, and thank you for Jeremy, and thank you for this day. In God's name, amen.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for sharing Jeremy with us as well.
Thank you. So my Sunblazing heroes, Amanda just showed us the hollow place. Comment Jeremy on any of the posts, and I'll send you the episode link. Come and take off, and I'll send you the link to the class. And family, if you or someone you love is struggling, please reach out with the suicide thoughts. Reach out to 988, which is the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. You matter. Your life matters. Until next time, folks, I love you. Amanda loves you. Jeremy and Logan love you. And God loves all of you all. See you on our next flight. Keep flying, and God bless. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Good evening.